Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MTGO Traders. My name is Taryn. Let's talk about Izzet Drakes. Welcome to Standard Smackdown, where we go over a powerful deck in the standard format and run it through a few matches to see how it performs. Today's deck is Izzet Drakes, and before I get into the deck tech, I'd like to tell you that this video is brought to you by MTGO Traders and Cape Fear Games. Get your online singles from Magic Online from MTGO Traders, and your paper singles and accessories from Cape Fear Games, like these sweet MTGO Traders card sleeves. Represent that you play paper and online with these bad boys. This channel is named MTGO Traders, so that means we try to bring the best and brightest in deck builds and information straight from our brewery to yours. So, if that sounds fun to you, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, and hitting that bell on the way out to make sure you get notified whenever a video goes live. We post new videos every weekday. Alright, let's dig into Izzet Drakes. Currently at 8.98% of the meta in Standard, the Izzet Drake list is all about overwhelming your opponent with pesky birds that just don't go away unless you exile them. The deck also has a lot of power with great hard-hitting finishers and insanely powerful pieces of removal. So let's start off with creatures. For my list, we've got a slim 12 creatures in total: 4 Goblin Electromancer, 4 Arclight Phoenix, and 4 Crackling Drake. Yes, there is another Drake in the format that does similar things, but trust me, you don't need it. You have more than enough power right here. Goblin Electromancer is our turn 2 play always, turning all our draw spells into super cheap cycling spells that light the top of our deck aflame while we rip cards from it. Electromancer is a highly regarded removal magnet though, so use your time with him wisely. By turn 3, if your opponent hasn't removed him, you'll likely have the match, as making 2 mana draw spells 1 mana is seriously backbreaking. Moving on to Arclight Phoenix, this is your turn 3 or 4 attacker. You never really want to cast this card outright unless you need the extra damage, and the reason behind that is that most of the time you can cycle through your spells that let you throw the Phoenix in the graveyard, cast 3 spells, and have it rise from the dead in the combat step to swing out at your opponent's face. This is the key attacker for the deck, as opponents will struggle to get rid of it with Exile Hate unless they have Lava Coil, Vraska's Contempt, Seal Away, or some other Exile Hate removal like Conclave Tribunal or Ixalan's Binding. But if those get your creatures, you always have the big boy finisher here. Crackling Drake draws you cards and can normally end a match with one swing. Since cards count in your graveyard and exile, if your opponent does have some form of graveyard hate in game 2, you're still perfectly fine with a 10-4 behemoth that can flex on basically any deck and win in a single hit. And that's basically it for creatures. There are several lists that like to add other Drakes or Murmuring Mystic in game 1, but I think it takes away from the streamlined nature of the deck, making some draws a bit more awkward than you would like. Next up we have spells, 26 in total. We have draw spells, burn spells, and creature removal spells. Nothing else in this deck. We have counters, but that's for game 2. We're not about reacting to the board state, we're about presenting a problem to our opponent, and in that way, the deck puts the pedal to the metal. Our draw spells include cards like Opt, Chart a Course, Radical Idea, and Tormenting Voice. 16 pieces of draw power in this deck, 4 of which help you filter your deck a little bit as well. And with Chart a Course, Tormenting Voice, and Jump-Started Radical Idea, you're able to pitch the Arclight Phoenix into the graveyard. So all in all, this deck draws into a lot of stuff really quickly in order to get those Phoenixes out of your graveyard or juice up your Drakes. For creature removal and burn, we have Shock, Lava Coil, and Beacon Bolt. Shock will very rarely be hitting your opponent directly, but rather pinging down a Planeswalker or Knight that has just recently spawned from a shiny new History of Benalia. Lava Coil hits most of the format in removal, and we have 4 in here since Electromancer makes this a 1 mana deal 4, and that's insane. The last removal spell in this deck is Beacon Bolt, and if you had any notions of this card not doing like 8 or 9 damage each time you cast it, trust me, it's hilarious how much damage this 3-point spell can do. Not only that, but it's able to be jump started, meaning that if your opponent has 2 bombs, you just spend 6 mana and poof, bye-bye bombs. The biggest target for this card right now is Aurelia and Boros aggro, and does a superb job at removing her with little to no muss or fuss. That's it for spells. A nice selection of card advantage and removal. Basically enough to pump up the Drake and Phoenix to close out a game on turn 5. I love it. For lands, we have an even split with Steam Vents and Sulfur Falls helping to curve out the rather aggressive spell costs of the deck. We have 30 red sources and 26 blue, so keeping the list relatively simple is good for us. The sideboard is a bit heavier into blue though, since we're going to try and be a bit more reactionary in game 2. Our sideboard is filled with a lot of keep away tactics, go wide cards, and control hate. For keep away tactics, we have 3 Blink of an Eye, 3 Fiery Cannonade, and 2 Murmuring Mystic. All of these keep creatures off your back long enough for the Drake or Phoenix to crash in for a GG. The Blinks bounce tokens into Oblivion or Planeswalkers like Teferi that are hard to deal with once cast. Cannonade keeps hyper aggro strategies like Boros aggro away for a turn or 2 at instant speed, and since it's so cheap, it can even be a sweeper to get our Phoenix out pre-combat. Murmuring Mystic here is doing 2 jobs for us. It's going wide while we dig for Phoenixes or Drakes, and it's giving us attack options that go over most creature-based decks in the format. Mystic is really here to stall for Phoenix and Drake, but it can close out a game if given enough time. For the control matchup, we have 3 Negate, 2 Sorcerer Spyglass, and yes, 2 Niv Mizzet Perun. Negate is pretty self-explanatory at keeping Planeswalkers, Settle the Wreckage, and any enchantment hate back, and Sorcerer Spyglass is a bit more specific, usually shutting down Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, or any other Planeswalker. And Niv Mizzet is here against the Jeskai or Dimir control list so that we A, have a creature that can't be countered, and B, have a large threat that still deals damage to them and gives us card advantage even if they they do have spot removal on the spot. While Niv Mizzet can be a hard to cast creature most of the time, he'll come out on turn 6 no problem. Since our mana base is split the way it is, it's pretty easy to cast him. Thank you, Steam Vince. And that's the full 75. If you're wanting to build this on Magic Online, from MTGO Traders is coming to about 127 tickets. And if you're looking to build this in Paper Magic, you're looking at an extra 120 bucks for $247. If you're an Arena player, this is also a fairly easy build, with Arclight Phoenix being the key mythic in the deck that makes this a little difficult. Also, the 8 rare lands in the deck list as well. I'm always of the mind that rare lands are what makes deck building in Arena annoying, and this deck is no exception. Alright, that's the deck list. Let's get into some matches and see how this deck performs. Alright, let's get into matches with Standard Smackdown and Izzet Drakes. I'm only doing 3 matches for this deck list. Some of the matches with the Izzet Drakes list can be really high in variance. Sometimes you just immediately win, and sometimes you just kind of draw until you're dead. So, very interesting list. Super fun as well. Gonna go with Steam Vents on turn 1 for us, coming in tapped. And opponent's going to go with an Izzet Guildgate, so we could be seeing another Izzet list as well, maybe a Jeskai control list. Let's go Charter Course first. Got into some ops there. Going to get rid of an opt and pass turn there. Could have gone with a Tormenting Voice instead, but wanted to make sure we could discard after the fact instead of before. We have Tormenting Voice here, so we're going to pitch that Arclight Phoenix, draw some cards. And we could use Opt if we want to, or just Shock. We're going to hold on to that, though, for this turn. Maybe use the Opt on their instep, or use Shock on a creature if they play it out. Treasure Map is hitting the field for our opponent into a Search for Azcanta, and the Treasure Map ticking up for 1 here. So this looks to be maybe a control list. We're going to pass turn. Going to go for a Sulphur Falls once again. Let's just go Crackling Drake straight up. Draw a card with that and pass turn. Representing a 3/4 attacker on turn 4, so not terrible, not great. But we can get out, hopefully, the Arclight Phoenix next turn with all of the spells we have in our hand. Enigma Drake is hitting their fields as 0/4, so this is a similar list. So we're going to go with the Lava Coil into a Radical Idea and an Opt to make sure we get, let's see, got a Phoenix there as well. 2 Phoenixes in our hand, 1 cut in the graveyard coming in, and then let's just get in for 9, down to 11 on turn 5, so very nice. They're taking up the Treasure Map here on their side of the field. Would very much like to get those Arclight Phoenixes out of our hand. We do have Radical Idea in our hand and in the graveyard, so we can do that. Siren Stormtamer on their side of the field. They're kind of more of a mid-rangey deck. Let's go Shock here. Sinister Sabotage. Now this does mean that the Shock still counts towards the 3 limit, or 3 spell limit for Arclight Phoenixes. So let's go Radical Idea, discard another Arclight Phoenix, and opponent is going to scoop it up. Nice. Let's go to sideboard here. Probably want to bring in Niv Mizzet for this particular matchup, maybe taking out some Radical Ideas, and then just hit Submit. Against the other Izzet Drake lists, it's sort of a good idea to have Niv Mizzet because anytime they cast spells that draw them cards, we're actually pinging them and drawing cards ourselves, so very nice. Nice 3 land hand with a pass for the opponent here with a Steam Vents. We're going to go Steam Vents as well and pass. Sulphur Falls from the opponent, going into another Treasure Map on turn 2. Let's go for a Goblin Electromancer and see if opponent has removal for it. Keep in mind, Electromancer, if left unchecked, is amazing, and they didn't get rid of it. So we're going to go Charter Course here, discard a Sulphur Falls, or yes, go get rid of Steam Vents actually. Let's go Opt. Look for a Shock here. Got into a Crackling Drake. We could go Tormenting Voice to try one more time as far as pitching into a Arclight Phoenix, but wouldn't count towards the turn, so not going to do that. We do have 3 2/4s and Crackling Drakes in our hand though, so that's nice. Let's go Sulphur Falls into an Opt here. Let's bottom that Sulphur Falls and got another Sulphur Falls. Let's get in for 2 here. Just trying to be a little safe with how we play our stuff. Let's go with the Tormenting Voice here. Opponent's going to go with a Sinister Sabotage, kind of locking down our card draw. That's smart. 4 cards in hand for the opponent. They didn't take up their Treasure Map though. Interesting play there. I guess they missed the trigger for that line. Yeah, opponent saying oops there. They missed their trigger on the Treasure Map tick up. Because Treasure Map could have been at 3 this turn. Let's go with a Crackling Drake here. They do have open mana, but we have 3 Drakes, so we should be fine. Seeing a Treasure Map go up here. Opt from the opponent. Probably looking for a not Tormenting Voice, but Lava Coil. Let's go Charter Course. Excuse me. Arclight Phoenix from us. Enigma Drake for the opponent. We have Lava Coil for that. If they don't have removal, which they don't, we're getting rid of it. Go with another Crackling Drake. We could go with a Charter Course here pre-combat. Get rid of a Phoenix and get in for 9. That sounds good. And of course, representing lethal next turn. Let's see, treasure map making some treasures here for them. 6 cards in hand for the opponent. Do they have Star of Extinction? They have enough mana for that. Let's see. Keep in mind we have an Arclight Phoenix in the graveyard and in the hand, so we might be able to get out of this if they do Star of Extinction. Sacking treasures for a Niv Mizzet. Very nice. So that's going to be very little Chart of Course coming in for us, or for them. They're drawing some cards. They're going to get rid of the Electromancer here. We're still going to have lethal thanks to the 7 power from both of the Drakes, so not too bad. Sulfur falls from the opponent here. And that's it. Nice. Alright, let's get into match 2 for Standard Smackdown on Izzet Drakes. And again, it's kind of one of those decks where you can just draw into a bunch of draw spells and kind of do nothing, but sometimes you're very explosive, and hitting those Arclight Phoenixes early on in the match is very good. Crackling Drake, surprisingly a lot better than you'd realize, especially in game 1. And of course, if they have removal, you're going to go into a game 2 with negates. Gonna go with the mulligan here, have 3 land hand, Electromancers, and Crackling Drake drawing into a Radical Idea, very good. Steam Vents into a Mountain. This is a Pyromancer deck, so maybe this is it Wizards? We'll see here. Getting in for 2. We're going to not block that for now, so the Radical Idea can just be 1 mana. Let's see what we see here. This is turn 3, Mountain. Just gonna go with a Chart of Course here. Ionize from the opponent. Okay, so I think this is an Izzet Wizards list. Let's go another Electromancer. Pass turn. Oh, there it is. Idleys. Yep, getting in for lots of damage here. Getting in for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're down to 5 already. Let's play the Drake here to have a blocker in the air. It's a 1/4 though. Let's get in for 2. Can they kill us this turn? Steam Vents off the top. Dismissive Pyromancer. 1 card in hand for the opponent. Yeah, they're going to pass turn here. That's good for us. We have another Crackling Drake. Let's go with a Radical Idea. Drew a card, which is just a land. Let's go with another. Oh, we got to Ionize. Down to 3. Ooh. Opponent has 0 cards in hand though, so we might have a chance next turn. We'll see though. Pyromancer can get rid of the Drake. That's what they're going to do, and they're going to get in for 4. Gonna block the Pyromancer here. Take 2, go to 1. Yep, there's a Lightning Strike. Okay, let's go with game 2 here. Murmuring Mystic and Fiery Candidate are both very good in this matchup, so let's take out some Radical Ideas for Fiery Candidate. But we could bring in Murmuring Mystic, but I think we're just gonna hold Fiery Candidate for now and see if we can get into it. Go with a mulligan here. Gonna keep Arclight Phoenix off the top and play a Mountain and pass. Mountain from the opponent. Should have played that Steam Vents since it does impact our board state, but being a little weird with our plays here. Gonna go with Chart of Course, discard an Arclight Phoenix, and pass. Lava Runner from the opponent, hitting into another land here. Let's go with a Shock to Lava Runner and pass. They don't have blue mana, so we should be fine. Let's go Steam Vents and go Crackling Drake. It's a 2/4. Risk factor, we're gonna say no, and they draw cards here. Keep in mind this is Izzet Wizards, so they're gonna have a lot of burn. So giving them the ability to burn us is not great. But they do get to kill our creature and get in for 2, so let's go Chart of Course here. Discard the Arclight Phoenix if we can. Would love to get into an opt. Spell Pierce from the opponent. I guess we say no and let that resolve. Ooh, got a shock off the top there. Very nice. So we do get an Arclight Phoenix back from the graveyard, getting in for 3, down to 17. 6 cards in hand for the opponent. 4 lands, 5 lands now. Going for a Wee Dragonauts. Beacon Bolt in our hand as well. It might be a good idea to go with a Radical Idea here. Discard Arclight Phoenix. Beacon Bolt. Seems fine. Get in for 3. And keep in mind, of course, Crackling Drakes, like the 2 of them are 6/4s right now, so we should be fine. Idleys coming in, getting in for 2. Down to 14. Cannonade is not bad. Let's go with a Crackling Drake and see if it doesn't resolve. It does. Nice. Alright, let's get in for 3. Seeing a risk factor once again from the opponent. We'll take that damage. We're in a little bit better of a standing in this situation now. But they do have 3 cards in hand. They can always change. We have Cannonade and Shock in our hands, so we have good ways to get rid of their board state as well. So we just got to see if we can push our advantage here. Opponent's going to get in for 2. We're going to block for 6 power. Wizard's Lightning damaging us, Shock damaging us, and then of course offering the trade there. Down to 5. Let's go with another Crackling Drake. Let's go with a Steam Vents coming in tapped and just hit in for 3. This is a little bit of a hard... Yeah, nice. Cool. Was hoping opponent didn't have 2 more burn spells, because then we would have been dead. Let's bring in Murming Mystic and take out some Crackling Drakes and just hit submit here. While the Drake is a fantastic game ender, the Mystic can help us kind of get around all those small ping attacks from his wizards, or their wizards. Let's go with the keep here, thanks to that opt and being on the draw. Let's top deck the island here. Mountain from the opponent. Got a Steam Vents off the top. Let's go Electromancer. Shock on the end step there. 6 cards in hand going for a Lava Runner. Passing turn. Let's go with another island. And we could go for Electromancer. We could go for Shock. I think it might be a good idea to go with the Shock here, or just wait for a turn. 6 cards in hand here. Get in for 1. Let's just go with a Shock. Main phase 2. Pyromancer. That's fine. I think it's a good idea to go for Electromancer here and then go Charter Course. Discard Radical Idea. Pass turn. 5 cards in hand from the opponent. 3 men on the battlefield. Ooh, Lightning Strike. Get in for 2, down to 14. That's fair. Charter Course in our hand. Really need another land here. Still no land. Let's get rid of Tormenting Voice and pass turn. Wizard's Lightning hitting us directly down to 11. 4 cards in hand from the opponent. No land drop as well. Getting in for 2, down to 9. Risk factor. We're going to have them draw cards. Again, we're down to 9, so we don't want to risk anything. Let's go Lava Coil here and pass turn, just to kind of keep the damage off of us for a little bit. Pyromancer coming in again, down to 7. Beacon Bolt's okay. Again, we have a lot of removal here. It's just not a lot of good draws. Go with the Beacon Bolt. Ooh, Spell Pierce. Does get countered there. 5 cards in hand for the opponent. Getting in for 2, down to 5. Do they have the burn here? The strike and the shock. Shock there. And there it is. There's the strike. Ouch. That's our loss. And let's get into match 3 here and see what we can do. Izzet Wizards is one of those deck lists where I feel like it was really bad at the beginning of the format, and I just completely underestimated it. And it's a very formidable deck. Also a very cheap deck, too. Let's go with the Steam Vents tapped and pass. Red mana from the opponent. Goblin Electromancer for us. Shock on the Electromancer. Of course, why not? Another Mountain into a Summoner. That's interesting. Let's go with an Opt here and just Lava Coil the Summoner. War Boss from the opponent getting in for 1 here. Kind of scary. Let's go Charter Course and discard the Arclight Phoenix. Go Opt. And I can't go Radical Idea, so a bit of a wasted turn there. Kind of kept getting into land. Ooh, 2 War Bosses. That sucks. Alright, is this already a GG on turn 4 with the 2 War Boss follow-up? That's awful. This is definitely Boros aggro here. Let's go Electromancer into a Radical Idea. And let's just discard a land for another Radical Idea. We have Charter Course here. We're just going to go with a Concede. Those War Bosses are going to be really hard to get around. They made two 1/1s each turn that also got Mentors, so just not fun. Let's bring in the Cannonades, bring in the Mystic, and see what we can do in game 2. Trying to make sure we can get around those big threats. Opening hand is 3 lands and lots of card draw. That's nice. Let's go with the Steam Vents and pass. See what opponent gets into. 8 cards in hand. Gonna go with a Mountain pass. Let's go Sulphur Falls and go Charter Course. Just discard a land here. Sacred Foundry from the opponent. Let's go Goblin Electromancer into a Radical Idea. Ooh, shock from the opponent. Got a steam vents out of that though. Mountain, or not mountain, plains into a History Benalia. Let's go Tormenting Voice. Arclight Phoenix is in her hand now. We could go Lava Coil, but I think it might be a good idea to wait a turn. Second Knight from the opponent. Getting in for 2. Another History of Benalia. Would really love a Fiery Cannonade really soon. Let's go with a Radical Idea into a Charter Course. Ooh, got a shock as well. So we do get a Arclight Phoenix back from the graveyard as a blocker. So that's not bad. Keep in mind that gives them +2/+1, so they are just 4/3s, which means that the Phoenix can block and kill them. We just have to hope that they don't have a Lava Coil or Shock in hand. Aurelia, ooh, that hurts. They're pumping the one that doesn't have haste. That's interesting. Yeah, we're going to trade with the 4/3 there. Let's go with a Beacon Bolt and just get rid of Aurelia. And go Opt. Let's go Island and then go Shock there. Get back our Phoenix, pass turn. And this is kind of the loop for us for the Arclight Phoenix. If the opponent doesn't have Exile, Hate, or Removal, the Phoenix can just be a blocker forever. Second Aurelia from the opponent. Keep in mind we have the Beacon Bolt in the graveyard so we can recast it. We're going to go with an Arclight Phoenix block there. Let's go Beacon Bolt and just get rid of Aurelia. And then pass turn. Could have kept the Tormenting Voice and pitched the Lava Coil, but wanted to hold the Lava Coil just in case they have another huge threat. So, follow up, Crackling Drake next turn is pretty good. Legion Warboss is the card coming in, so glad we kept that Lava Coil. Let's go with the Crackling Drake into a Lava Coil here. Lay a Steam Vents and pass. It's now a 10-4, so it's going to be able to do just 2 swings and end the game. Very nice. Also, Remembering Mystic is super good because if we get into any more card draw, we can hopefully, you know, create a huge board state where they can be slowed down by it. Let's go Mystic into a Electromancer, be out of cards in hand, and let's just get in for 10 in the air. Down to 10. Oh, feels good when you hit them for 50% of their life total. 3 cards in hand from the opponent. Another Knight's coming in. Do we see... Let's see what we see here. Maybe Heroic Reinforcements? This is Boros Aggro, so that's really one of the cards that I despise the most. Adanto Vanguard coming in. Oh, yep, Heroic Reinforcements. Ouch. Alright, getting in for lots of damage here. Let's go with a block on the 4/2 and go with a block on a 3/3, going down to 4. And they can't block the 10 in the air, and that's going to be it. Nice. That's going to do it. We could bring in some Blink of an Eye if we want to, but I think we might want to just hit Submit and go into Game 3. 4 lands, Beacon Bolts, Fire Cannonade, I'll take it. It's a little bit slower of a hand, but it is very aggressive for History Benalia and the token-based strategies, so Steam Vents from us, Lift Up Retreat for them, another Steam Vents for us, pass turn. Gonna go with a Tajik, very nice. This is a 3/2 that makes our Cannonade not as good, so we want to focus on trying to get rid of that. Let's go Charter Course here, have an Opt in hand. Was able to get rid of an Arclight Phoenix as well. Heroic Reinforcements on turn 4. That's pretty good, especially with the Mentor mechanic here. It's probably a good idea to block on Tajik here and just take the 5. Let's go with a Mountain here. Opt into a Lava Coil. Absolutely. Let's go Lava Coil on Tajik and pass turn. 4 cards in hand for the opponent, getting in for 3 here. Let's go with a Sulphur Falls into a Tormenting Voice. Pass turn here. We're going to hold up Fiery Cannonade as an instant. Another Heroic Reinforcements. No thanks. Alrighty. 4 cards in hand for the opponent. Pass turn. Didn't hit anything that turn. Let's go Tormenting Voice into an Opt here. Radical Idea is not bad. This way we get our Arclight Phoenixes back from the graveyard. And cast that again. Bringing in some Arclight Phoenix, getting in for 3. Sort of afraid of a Settle the Wreckage that turn, but we got around it, luckily. Murmuring Mystic off the top for us, that's very nice. Let's get in for 3 once more. Pass turn. Beacon Bolts being able to do damage for 9 here is kind of ridiculous. Another Phoenix in our hand here. We could play the Phoenix and then play a Bolt or Lava Coil on the Knight here. Let's just be patient though. Let's get in for 6. Hold up the 1/5. Now here's a bit of a misplay, I feel like. If we think that they have heroic reinforcements in their hand, we might just be dead. There's a Vanguard. Oh, they don't have it. Oh, that's so good. And we just escaped death there. Let's go Lava Coil into probably another Lava Coil on the other knight. Or let's go to the Vanguard and then go Beacon Bolt on the knight there, just to get rid of their board state. And let's get in for 6. Almost lethal. Shock from the opponent on that Phoenix, down to 5. Do you have anything? You have a Sacred Foundry, down to 3. That's it! Nice! They stuck himself. When in doubt, you can always strike yourself. And that was the deck list. I hope you like it. I know it's a big hitter in the format right now, but it's actually a ton of fun to play. And there's enough variance in this list to make matches really unorthodox and fun, even against terrible decks. Sometimes you just draw into draw spells and nothing else and die. And that's the way of Magic, of course, but this deck just does it so well. I can't wait for what the new Ravnica set brings to this deck list, as I wish we had one more decent burn spell. Maybe Ionize in the sideboard instead of Negate, but that's food for thought. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on the deck below, like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and make sure to share this video around on your choice of social media. I hear the MTG Reddit is a good place to start, wink wink. As always, these videos are brought to you by MTGO Traders and Cape Fear Games. Pick up your Magic Online singles via MTGO Traders and your paper singles and accessories from Cape Fear Games. By the way, Star of Extinction is nearly 18 tickets on Magic Online right now, so if you're into making some credit back, we buy and sell on MTGO Traders. Anyway, love you fine folks, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.